Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Onepeg. It is 3 o'clock in the morning, and we have patch notes. I really wish SDF would stop doing this while I'm sleeping, but hey, it's not really up to me, is it? So they brought the servers down at 1:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am GMT -5. They said that the servers would be down, starting 40 minutes after the 1:45 a.m. Eastern Standard, down for 3 hours. After the 40-minute cooldown, you're letting people get out of their runs. If you're doing the math, puts you around 5:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, somewhere around there. On to the patch notes. Marketplace internal logic fix that could cause severe performance degradation. So we saw that the market only lasted for about an hour. That ended up then dying. And then there was this major duplication error where once the marketplace started lagging, people were buying items and then logging in on a different character on the same account and then buying that same item over again, thus causing a major duplication glitch. Hopefully, they've been able to identify which one of those items got duped, because we were seeing violas on the market for like 1 gold and it got like really messed up. So hopefully that's better. I don't know. We'll have to see. Fixed an issue where cloaks would sometimes cover the owner's face. If you haven't seen the video that I posted yesterday or the day before, it seemed to occur a lot when you were running around frost caves. It didn't look like it happened on the other maps. But if you didn't see the video that I posted yesterday or the day before, whatever it was, I would suggest going watching it, if only for the laugh factor. It was pretty good. Fixed an issue where the quarterstaff was not given as a starting item for Wizard. They had that as a patch note. For whatever reason, the Wizard base kit didn't actually have the Q-staff on it, but they've fixed that since, it seems. Fixed an issue where players could become stuck in certain areas of Ice Cavern. Fixed an issue where sound could be incorrectly masked in some areas of Ice Cavern. So this was another issue. Footsteps, for whatever reason, depending on verticality and certain rooms, you wouldn't be able to hear people walking up to you, or it would sound like you were underwater or they were, and it was making it easy for people to sneak up on you depending on where you were standing. Fighter receives an early version of Sword Mastery. So this is interesting because this also said Wizard receives an early version of Staff Mastery. So this seems like maybe they're delving into the talent system just a little bit, where we can see how they're starting to maybe build this out with some perk ideas. Fighter's perfect block cooldown changed from 24 to 18 seconds, so a little bit of a buff to perfect block. Shield Slam now knocks back enemies. Shield Slam has been something that people have been looking to have buffed. The area of effect, meaning like where the shield would actually end up hitting, you'd really have to be like up in somebody for the Shield Slam to actually connect. It seems like they've been trying to work this in where Shield Slam for PDR fighters actually starts to make sense. Something like a knockback, I think, is a good start. So we'll have to see how much that affects people. I'd like to see this really be a strong physical blow where you see them really get knocked back. We'll have to play with it and see what it looks like. Wizard's Arcane Feedback spell, casting speed and arcane magic damage bonuses per stat has been changed from 1% to 2%. Wizard Arcane Feedback was a 5-stack perk talent that no one ever used because Arcane Mastery is historically better. So whenever an arcane missile hit its target, it would give you a 1% haste and 1% damage boost. But it really wasn't all that good. Arcane Mastery reduces the cooldown of arcane spells by 0.5 seconds and gives a 5% damage boost just flat. So comparatively, it didn't make sense to bother running Arcane Feedback to begin with. This changes it to 2% per stack up to 5 stacks. So a 10% bonus for a handful of seconds might actually be worth it if it ends up like coming into play. We'll have to use it, I guess. I could see where if you were going to cast arcane missiles and land it on a target, then maybe like follow-up spells being a little bit faster, hasted, and have a bit more damage would make some sense. But I fail to see how this is going to work in PvP unless you're barrel stuffing somebody, because that's really the use of arcane missiles. It doesn't really give much benefit in any other way. If I'm being completely honest, PvE talent. At best, PvE talent. I don't think I would use it in PvP, at least not in its current form. It doesn't feel like it's viable enough compared to other options that you have in the kit. It would give you like a little bit of spell regen speed when you sat down for a few seconds right after the magic missiles hit. Or if you were really confident while they were flying in the air, I guess you could technically stack it up while you sat down and you'd get a handful of seconds. Other than that, nah. Wizards' reactive shield protection amount changed from 10 to 15. So a little bit more survivability for Wizards is always nice. But I would argue that the problem with Wizard isn't necessarily its survivability. It's the damage that it deals coming off of the Wizard. You'll have some issues with like landmine stuff. Obviously, rogues jumping out of the shadows and two-shotting Wizards is never any fun. But the damage dealing capability of Wizard is really kind of like the lackluster piece. But anyway, a hybrid dungeon selection system has been added, combining fixed dungeon selection and rotation. So this is also interesting, and I'm not sure exactly what they mean by this. One of the criticisms that I gave, and this goes both ways, the freedom of choice for what map you want to be able to play is nice. Don't get me wrong. It's a very, very nice thing. Given that the population of the game, the players playing it, aren't all that high historically, let's say. Yeah, we have 10, 15,000 people globally, but that's across 10 server regions throughout the globe. People are all spread out, and then you have multiple game modes. You have both normal and high roller, and then you have solo, duo, and trio. So on each server cluster, you have 6 different game modes to be able to choose from, and that starts spreading people out pretty thin. With that in mind, a map rotation system kind of forced people into these groups where they were playing with each other. You'd have competition. Right now, that competition is a bit watered down because depending on the server region again, and depending on the group and whatever you're playing in, you could end up having a completely dead game. It's not out of the question. You would need a population playing this game of tenfold the size that it is to really feel like the lobbies were getting filled up all the time. At least that's my opinion. So the freedom of choice is a great thing, but if you don't have anyone to play against, you just start making dead game claims. In this case, if they're trying to hybridize it a little bit, I'm not exactly sure how this is going to work, but we'll have to look into it. Maybe it's the best of both worlds. We'll have to see what happens. I think the best part of this is that the marketplace is coming back. Staff and Sword Mastery, I think, are the most intriguing pieces of this. I'd like to see what they look like and what they do. We'll have to check it out once the patch notes are live. So thank you guys so much for coming out and checking this video out. If you'd like to see more of this stuff, if you enjoy this kind of content from me, please consider subscribing to the channel. I would very much appreciate that. You guys are amazing. I'm going to get this up on YouTube for you all. I'm going to go take myself a little nappy nap. I'll be back when the patch is live, and I will see you guys in the next video. Okay? Thanks so much. Peace.